What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing another video. So today I'm doing the Powerpuff Girls Episode 7 review. And it was actually an interesting episode. I actually liked it a lot, and it also brought up a character that we haven't seen yet return, as well as introduce a character that is introduce two characters that are like a duo for the villain side. So they have a new an original and a new, which is nice. So the episode is entitled Bye Bye Bellum. For those that are wondering, Bellum. Okay, who's Bellum? You know, Sarah Bellum, the mayor's assistant in the show, from the original show, and also now. So there is that consistency, which is great. So the episode starts off with the girls deciding to buy this video game that's called Dragon Wizard Skateboard Fighter, which is a very, very random and unusual bunch of words, but it kind of works, and I could totally see that being a game, you know? It's a real thing. I actually, when I was writing things down, it actually popped up or something like that, I was like, what the heck? Is it a real thing? Something like that is, apparently. So what happens is that they're playing this game, and the mayor ends up calling them, and they end up, first of all, doing rock, paper, scissors, and the thing is that Bubbles loses, and she answers the phone, and they have to go and see the mayor. And the mayor's office is pretty much a wreck. It looks terrible, and the mayor is hiding behind I believe it was like a bookshelf or something like that, and he's in his underwear. Which is normal for the mayor of this show, but not normal for most mayors. Probably, I would think. I mean, I don't necessarily know any mayors that well, other than the one that lives in my town, but but I don't know him like personally. You get my point, though. Anyway, so the thing is that he ends up explaining to the girls through a letter that he got from Miss Bellum, and the letter basically says, you know, she's been working for him for the past like 12 years, and apparently because of all that, she is entitled to something which sounds insane and sounds completely unrealistic. A 1,000-day-long vacation. Think about that for a second here. 1,000 days. That means you're talking about approximately 3 years. She has to be off. 3 years. Is that crazy? Yeah, that's pretty nuts. So anyway, that's happening, and you know, he's obviously very dependent on her, and there's this whole entire flashback of like his experiences with her. So anyway, what happens is that they end up, first of all, taking care of him for a little while and doing some errands for him, but eventually they can't handle it, and there's this news report that ends up happening about this escapee criminal from this gang known as the Bikini Sisters, and they're these two criminals. And the thing is that one of them escaped, and the one that escaped is known as Bianca Bikini, and she ends up trying to change her outfit so that she looks less like a criminal and more like a regular person. And the thing is that the girls need to find someone to replace Sarah Bellum, because, you know, that's what they have to do. So the thing is that they end up seeing her after she's changed her outfit, after beating up some guy in a shop or whatever to get clothing for free. The girls end up seeing her and say, hey, you know what, maybe we can get her to do it. And they didn't see the fight, but they saw her, and they said, hey, you know what, hey, do you have a job? And she's like, I don't do jobs. It's like, I don't have that or whatever. And the thing is, the girls are like, perfect, you're hired. And then they just grab her, bring her into the mayor's office, and they're like, here, mayor, we found you a new assistant, and I think that would be good. We're done here, so enjoy it or whatever. And the thing is the mayor's like, okay, great, so I'm gonna show you around a little bit. I'm gonna show you the boring part first of all, which is the town, which is like our controls and everything like that, where we can control the town's power and everything, and we can like we have control over like the prisons and everything like that. And so the thing is that she ends up mentioning, and I'm guessing you even have control over releasing someone such as Barbarous Bikini. And she's like, and he's like, well, I mean, yes, I mean, that's very specific, but I I bet we could. And the thing is that he doesn't think much of it. So then what happens is that she ends up throwing a yarn ball out, and the mayor is he's somewhere else usually, and when she throws it out, he ends up going to run after the yarn ball. In the meantime, while it's happening, she ends up pressing a button which lets Barbarous out of the jail cell. And the thing is that later on, Bianca Bikini ends up meeting up with Barbarous Bikini, since they're sisters. And apparently, Barbarous is probably a gorilla with a blonde wig. Not sure what to say since they're sisters. I'm curious about their parents, if that really was the case, because that's kind of unusual, just to say. Anyway, what happens is that that's all happening, and the girls are, playing video games or whatever. They're playing that video game from before, and what happens is that they try to take the two convicts end up trying to take control, and the mayor ends up finding out. Mayor ends up hearing things about the escapee criminals causing trouble and everything like that. And the thing is that in the meantime, the two of them end up capturing the Powerpuff Girls in their house and putting them. What am I saying? Yeah. And trapping them in their hideout. And what happens is they even steal the video game, which they end up playing and everything like that. And the girls get super invested in it, spend so much time playing it that they look beyond exhausted. But the Bikini sisters end up playing it as well, and they end up removing a bunny hat that Bubbles wanted on her character or whatever, and it made Bubbles upset. And the thing is that Bianca Bikini's prepared to die, and she's and when I say die, I mean tie-dye, because they're fashionistas apparently, so they're all about fashion and design and everything like that. They even make a funny reference to the fact that you're wearing such awful 90s garb or something like that, referencing their past, since the show came out late 90s, for those who do not know. So obviously clear nods to the past. But it was interesting. On top of that, so then what happens is that the mayor ends up finding out that the girls are in trouble. And, Miss Bellum's not around. The professor, I guess, is not around either. So the mayor, for once, actually goes out of his way to... He realizes that he has caused this issue. So he ends up going up to a board which has the founding fathers, and this is very specific to the show-oriented fathers, because you have a samurai warrior, and then you have someone that's an American patriot or something like that, and it's just no, that's not right. So anyway, what happens is the mayor ends up talking to himself and hearing in his head from the founding fathers, and ends up realizing that he has to do something and he has to think wisely. So he ends up putting on a headband and that's red, and then he ends up wearing a sash that has pickles in it rather than grenades, most of these shows have. Which since this is video game based, you could probably connect it to something along the lines of maybe, I don't know, Contra, or because it's supposed to be very retro-esque. Contra, or I'm forgetting the other game that I'm thinking of right away, but it's something that was in the 80s. It was Rambo. That's what it was. Rambo. Got it. Okay, Rambo. He has a Rambo-esque look. And the thing is that he ends up going in there, trying to save them or whatever, and they end up fighting, the mayor and Bianca and Barbarous. And the thing is that it even says player 1, player 2, player 3, and the mayor was 1, and Bianca was 2, and Barbarous was 3 or something like that, and they were fighting each other. And the thing is that they even make references to video games, where Barbarous is a big gorilla, ends up throwing barrels out, and the mayor has to jump over them. So it's obviously referencing Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong cabinet. And then later on, you have the mayor who ends up grabbing Bianca and ends up saying, "Get over here," and uses his headband and undoes it and kind of grabs it, sort of like a chain, like a chain from Mortal Kombat with Sub-Zero, I believe it was. or Scorpion, I'm forgetting now. I believe it's Scorpion. Like ends up grabbing and going, get over here, and ends up beating on her. And it's the same like those references are so like obvious, but it totally works. So that all happens, and then following this, he ends up knocking. Eventually, the Powerpuff Girls manage to escape, and they end up knocking them back into jail. And the mayor ends up forgetting everything other than the fact that he was like, "Wait, I saved you, girls." It's like, "Oh, that's great," and everything like that. And they're all happy. And then we see a moment with Sarah Bellum, who is at the beach relaxing, everything like that, and she ends up somehow knowing that apparently he did well and he managed to save the girls, and she's like, I'm proud of him, like it's great. One thing I will say is that I'm not necessarily sure if Miss Bellum is voiced with the same voice as before, because she sort of sounds a little bit different, but she definitely has some similarity, so it's not like it's completely new sounding. So maybe it is the original voice, but I don't know for a fact because it's not like distinct. So maybe. I don't want to say yes, but like don't know for a fact. We see even less of her than we normally do here, but it actually works well, and the overall outfit is basically the same, so it's not anything overly different, but it works. Overall, that's about it for me with this review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave your comments below telling me what you guys think. I'm sure I'm going to have a comment regarding Powerpuff Girls in general or something else. For those who do not know, I actually just recently went back and I've been watching every single episode of Powerpuff Girls. I've watched every single episode now and all the movies. The only thing I haven't watched, which I've just started, I've only watched the first episode of, is Powerpuff Girls Z, which is very different because it's anime based, but I will definitely have a different perspective on that later on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. And leave your comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, I'm Crazy Samurai 71, and goodbye.